Into the rift. The road stretched out before me, long and dusty, twisting east from Bankarai's golden hills into the wild borderlands of the Reach in Skyrim. Afternoon light slanted low through the haze, casting our shadows long and lean across the ground. I rode my chestnut and white pinto mare, her ears flicking at every sound. She seemed steadier than I felt in that moment. Beside me, Claudia rode with that effortless ease she always had. One leg hooked lazily over Streak's saddle horn. The striped Mustang moved as if it understood every unspoken command. A creature of instinct and will. Claudia looked the part of a warden, broad-shouldered and confident, a woman who trusted steel and instinct as naturally as breathing. Behind us, Rizak's Opus clicked inward, the faint blue gleam of its core painting the shadowed edges of the road. Every so often it darted ahead, scanning the terrain like a vigilant hound before circling back again. I could hear the tiny pulse of its mechanical heart echoing faintly, a quiet reminder that I wasn't entirely alone. For a while, neither of us spoke, just hoofbeats, the wind, and the distant call of a hawk. But Claudia had known me long enough to read my moods. "You've been quiet since Evermore," she said finally, tone half gentle, half prying. "That kind of silence usually means you're overthinking something." I let out a soft hum, keeping my gaze on the winding trail ahead. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm chasing ghosts. Claudia arched a brow. "You mean the Shadow Sage, Thalanor?" I hesitated, heat rising to my cheeks. What if he doesn't exist? Or worse, what if he does, and I'm not what he's looking for? Claudia chuckled, low and steady. "So, you don't fear the darkness. You fear being turned away from it." I swallowed. Thoughts drifting to Nimistra. My younger sister had been away at Apothrica for months, learning the ways of the Arcanist. I was proud. She was fearless, gifted, brilliant, but I couldn't help feel a spotlight on my own inadequacy and lack of direction. Watching her grow into someone so capable only reminded me of how hesitant I had been to pursue my own path. I let a small, crooked smile tug at my lips, though my voice stayed quiet. "Something like that. I've never been the strongest, or the quickest. My alchemy gives me some control, and my daggers, well, they give me a way to strike, but it feels hollow, like I'm missing something. Maybe I thought the shadows could balance that, or maybe..." I trailed off, eyes distant. Maybe I just want to find my own path. The rhythm of our mounts' hooves filled the space between words. Finally, Claudia's voice broke the quiet. You've never been helpless, Saren. You're clever, stubborn, and you think before you strike. The shadows won't care about your doubts. They'll care that you keep walking toward them. I gave a small laugh, soft but real. Like when we were children, crawling through Dwemer ruins we had no right to be in. Claudia snorted. You mean when you convinced me the spiders were dormant, and I ended up knee-deep in oil, swinging at everything that moved. I laughed again, the tension easing from my shoulders. You said you meant to tame them. And I still could have, she replied with a grin, if you hadn't run screaming first. The road stretched on, quiet now, the landscape shifting as the air grew colder, sharper. Pines thickened on the slopes ahead, their shadows stretching long in the fading light. By the time we reached Iverstead at the rift's western border, the sun had slipped behind the peaks, bruising the sky with purple and gold. Claudia drew streaks to a stop. There's an inn just over the bridge to the north. This is where I turn south. Cyrodiil awaits, Claudia said, eyes fixed on the winding road ahead. The rift is all yours from here. I felt a lump in my throat, the weight of the moment pressing down. The end of one road, the beginning of another. My voice came out quieter than I meant. Thank you for Rizak's wheel, and for everything that came before it. Watch yourself in the war. We still have future adventures to chase. She reached across the small gap between our horses and clasped my forearm, her grip firm and grounding. Of course, Saren. And remember, when the shadows feel too deep, the moons will always find you. I let her words settle, feeling the warmth of her certainty seep into me. My gaze lingered on her as she turned her mount, heading south along the ridge. I watched until she became nothing more than a dark speck against the bruised twilight. Rizak's opus chirped, the sound metallic yet warm, circling my mare as if to remind me that I wasn't entirely alone. I nudged my mare toward the bridge leading to the Pilgrim's Rest Inn, almost reluctant to take a rest. I thought of Nemistra again, so far away in Apothrika, and a pang of longing mixed with resolve. If my sister could face the arcane mysteries with courage, then maybe, just maybe, I could face the shadows waiting for me. The path was uncertain, the questions unending, but for the first time, I felt a quiet certainty stirring in my chest. Rizak's opus clicked beside me, reminding me to stay in the present. And so I rode, chest tight with hope and fear both, into the unknown, carrying the echoes of Dwemer halls, whispered legends, and the steady hum of a mechanical heart at my side. The path ahead was uncertain, yes, but for the first time I at least had a heading.